We also have next month coming up a very special workshop, and it's presented by Jan Slater in conjunction with NCPA. Jan, if you remember, presented at our January meeting, correct? Yes. So Jan actually is going to speak a little bit about it and tell you a little bit more about the workshop coming up.
Okay, I don't think I need this microphone. So I've got two handouts on the table. One is a flyer about the workshop, and it's on the website now, and then this handy dandy little tool I just want to talk about for a minute. So if you've been at other meetings, you've already heard me talk a bit about this, so I'm just going to move on with the tool and do another part of it. So this very simple tool, and my workshop is about you, the HR person, and your whole team, if they can come, coming to learn from me 3 hours, all the tools I've used in the 35 years I've been a CEO coach and an executive coach. And it seems to me like in order for people, for managers, to really manage their team the way they need to, so they're not running to you folks every other minute. I know that's part of your job, but you'll always have job security. That if I can teach you my tools, the idea is then you turn around and teach other people, your managers, how to actually manage their own teams. What a concept. My goodness. Then you've got time for other creative strategic things, because aren't you always solving the same old employee problems? Yes? Yes, constantly. The same ones come up over and over and over again. So my handy dandy little tool, it's so simple, so if you think my tools are going to be complicated, they're not. There is a chart here, and if you're going this way, you have a high likelihood of advancement, and if you're above the line, you have okay performance, and if you're below the line, you don't have okay performance. So last time I talked about the stars or high potentials inside your company. They have a high likelihood of advancement, and they have more than okay performance. And we talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly with stars, because stars are much needed on your team and in your company, but they have a downside. Not all stars, but many stars do. Directly below them are learners, and all organizations have learners, which are people new to the job and new to the organization. They have not okay performance, but they're going to move out of that quadrant, and we're going to talk about the people over here in the bottom left-hand side, and the acronym is POPOs. And I put them, they have not okay performance and no likelihood of advancement, because these are our non-performers. So let's talk about non-performers for a minute and what my acronym stands for. We made it up because it rhymes with hypos. So POPO stands for passed over and pissed off. Now, there are lots of those, aren't there? And so what we want to do is think about, besides the fact that people are passed over and not happy, what are all the other reasons why people don't perform? So I know you're eating and I'm making you talk at the same time, but just go along with me on this one. Why don't people perform in your organizations besides the fact that they might be passed over? Why else are they poor performers? Yes?
They're disengaged.
They're disengaged. Why are they disengaged?
They don't see the value of the work they're doing.
Okay, and you have a lot of, even though you try so hard to get them to see this, I know, you do have employees that don't get it. Okay, why else don't people perform? Yes?
Technology changes and there's a skill gap.
There's a tremendous skill gap inside our organizations. That's a really good one. Why else are people in the poor performer category? Lack of motivation. Why? Because they're not engaged. Can we use the lazy word? Some people are just plain old lazy. Not enough of that's talked about. My goodness, HR and all these people are always trying to engage people, and you know what? Some people aren't going to be engaged. They don't want to be there. Why don't people want to be there? There's a couple more really big reasons why people don't perform at work. What are they? Pay. Yeah, they feel like they're not getting paid fairly. Good one.
What interested in?
They're not interested in what you do or the job they're in. Exactly. You know, some people aren't interested in work at all. And I use my brother as an example. When we were all made to march out to work when we were 14 years old in our family, so I'm a twin. My twin and I were maids at the Holiday Inn because they'd hire you underage there. Our brother went off to a car wash, and when he came back from his first day at work, Mom and Dad said, "Bill, how was your first day at work?" And Bill said, "Work really cuts into your day." Yeah, you have some employees where your job is cutting into their day. Yes, and you're thinking, how does she know my employees? Because I've met them. Why else don't people perform? There's two really important ones that we haven't mentioned yet. Job mismatch. If that's kind of been said, they're in the wrong job. And or they got tired of that job. Bad boss. Really, they don't perform because of their supervisor. You move them someplace else to another supervisor, all of a sudden you've got a star on your hands. And or personal lives. Oh my gosh, that's one of the biggest ones, isn't it? Divorce, child custody, mom and dad are sick. Oh my goodness. So there's so many reasons why people don't perform. What I find is most organizations don't get on top of that fast enough. They don't coach it fast enough. And when it's time to go, they don't get rid of them fast enough. So let me ask a question. How many of you in your organization think you manage out at just the perfect time? How many of you think you are slow to manage out? Okay. How many of you think you're too fast in managing out? Well, you guys must be somewhere. Most people are too slow in managing out. During the workshop in July, I've got a managing out checklist that has 25 items in it you've used with your managers. You'd be amazed how not in touch they are with how downhill it's gone. Now, I am a big believer in getting it early and coaching it and getting these people up to the solid citizen category that I'll talk about in next month's meeting. But the fact is, a lot of times, poor behavior and poor performance goes on and on and on, and it can't be remedied because now we're in a little rut that we're never going to get out of. So in the September or the July workshop, then it's a Friday morning. You can bring your team, please bring yourself and everybody else. You're going to get a lot of tools, and what we're going to do is talk about how you get managers and other people to actually manage their own teams so you've got other better things to do. And when a manager comes in with a problem, you've got a whole set of tools I'm going to give you in a notebook you can give them. I'll also send them to you electronically. And then you can sit down and start solving those problems with those managers, and then they won't show up at your doorway again. So looking forward to having you all there. It's on the website. It's July 25th. It's a Friday morning. Where is it located, Sandy?
Hera Hub Carlsbad.
Okay.
Right off of, just pretty much on the other side of the street.
Okay, really convenient, yeah. And it's a really reasonable price. So I look forward to seeing you all there.